So, by the way, I saw this too. This is some girl that won election yesterday. Democratic Socialist Malak Kiros has won our Colorado House primary in a shocking result. This is going to keep happening, by the way. So you are going to keep having socialists win offices, and the reason why is because the Democrats have no values. They have no values, no priorities, nothing. Another terrorist supporter, she's definitely, I think, so it's this woman. Yeah, it's the woman that was like talking about how like 9/11 was like our fault, right?
Abolishing ICE is just one step, right? Like, abolishing ICE is just one step, right? Democrats have been in power multiple times over the last few decades and did nothing to address the immigration reform that we actually need.
ICE expenditures, increased spending.
Exactly, yeah. And so I think there has to be an immediate pathway for every single undocumented immigrant that's here in this country today that does not require them to shell out thousands of dollars to go through the process, for it to take decades at a time to be able to get to citizenship, an immediate pathway to citizenship, and then just
Yeah, they want to give everybody in the country citizenship who's here illegally. And this is the person that won. The reason why they're winning Democratic primaries is because Democrats have no defense against this. Democrats have literally no defense against people that are like this because they've built their entire party and all of their ideology around virtue signaling. It's completely built around virtue signaling, emotional messaging, and other forms of emotional guilt tripping, emotional blackmail, and everything. So the moment that people from the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, the moment that they go even farther to the emotional blackmail, the moment that they go even farther to the guilt tripping, Democrats have no choice but to acquiesce and to enable them, because that's the only value that they have. No Democrat, like, this is the reason, like, if you look at, like, for example, like, how proud are you to be an American, like, you know, Republicans versus Democrats, is that Democrats have gone down massively. It's at the lowest that I think people have ever seen it. Like, let's see here. How proud are you to be an American? Democrat versus Republican. So I don't know, I spelled it wrong, but I think you guys can clearly see what's going on here. Yeah, this is the graph. Pride of being an American by political party. So most Democrats, 36% of Democrats are not proud to be Americans, or sorry, are proud to be Americans. So that means 74%, well, I mean, not necessarily, it's not always like binary that way, but in a big way, a lot of these people are not proud to be Americans. Democrats say these people moderate once in power, then there's this. Well, let me see what this is. I'll take a look at it. Terrible, deport them all. Yeah, they hate America, right? I mean, it's clearly simple.
Not wait to abolish ICE and pass Medicare for all.
Yep.
We will not wait to put an end to the politics of the past, to get big money out of our politics, and to reject corporate PACs and APAC.
They've got to, there's no way they played that, right?
And no, we will not wait to end the genocide in Palestine.
That's it. By the way, the reason why they want to abolish ICE and give Medicare for all is so they can continue invading the country with foreigners and then have Americans be footing the bill for all of these foreigners to have infinity kids. That's the reason why they want to get rid of ICE. That's the reason why they want Medicare for all. They don't want this as an ends. They want it as a means. And the goal of that means is for them to be able to consolidate political power and then use it to wield as a racial demographic voting bloc to do whatever they want for their group. That's all they want, right? That's what they're doing. Medicare for foreigners, paid for by all. Yeah, and Google where she was born. Well, she was born in Ethiopia or something like that, right? I mean, this person is not an American. If it was up to me, I would be deporting all of these people. None of these people deserve to be in America, and they are really just a massive problem. But I think that they are a much bigger problem for the Democrats. And I think that in a big way, I think that they will poison the Democrats and make the Democrat position position something that is untenable for the average person. I don't think that the average person wants to hear about genocides in Palestine or, you know, like some other issue of what's happening in another country across the world. Like, they don't really care what's happening in Iran. They don't care what's happening anywhere else. And I don't think that also, like, getting rid of ICE is a mainstream position. I'm sure some people think this. There's a lot of people, I'm sure, think this, but I don't think it's a majority position. These people are basically, and this is what I think, is that they are so extreme that they will not have moderate voters that will come out and vote for them and you know, like, basically just, you know, hold your nose and vote anyway, right? I don't think that they're going to have a lot of moderate voters. She went from Zoran ignoring Israel as a debate point to DSA making Palestine their whole platform. Well, the reason why Palestine is their main platform is because Palestine represents a resistance against Western positions, right?
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not as a Jewish state?
No,
as a state with equal rights.
He won't, he
Not
won't
as a
say it
Jewish
has a
state.
right to exist as a Jewish state. Be very
And
clear
his
on
answer
that.
was no, he won't visit Israel.
I said that.
That's what he was trying to say.
No, unlike
No,
you, I
he
answered.
never-
This is why he won, by the way. And I think, honestly, like, this is the problem. Why the fuck are you talking about Israel inside of a debate for being the mayor of a city? Why are you even talking about this? This has nothing to do with, like, what your job is. You have nothing to even do. It's bullshit. So the real reason why he won, I think that Zoran is, like, he's one of those people where he has a lot of ideas that I agree with, but he has the ideas for the wrong reasons. So, like, one example is like this. Like, I agree with his position on this, but I don't agree with it for the same reason. It's another example with Zoran is making bus fares free. I think bus fares should be free. And the reality is that they shouldn't be free because it reduces crime. They should be free because it's annoying to deal with and people should be able to ride the bus and not have to worry about it. So what I think happens why is that chick talking about Palestine running for office then? It's because, so this is the reason why I think that a lot of them care so much about it. It's because the pro-Palestinian resistance, in a lot of ways, is a metaphor for resistance against the West and resistance against Western power, American culture, and basically any sort of Western culture in general. So because they view Palestine as a resistance front against that, that's the reason why they're so supportive of it. Now, I think obviously there are some humanitarian reasons too that I would agree with, but I think that you also have to acknowledge that a lot of these people are supporting it just purely because it is oppositional towards the West. And they're anti-capitalist. Well, they're anti-Western in general. And also, I mean, there's a racial component to this as well. I mean, obviously. So Aber wins. Palestine was on the ballot. Now a Palestinian American Democratic Socialist is going to Albany. Yeah, I mean, this is what's going to happen. And so this is what I think the ultimate result of this is going to be, is that you're going to see more and more people that are running for these tickets, like, you know, for Palestine being on the ballot or anything else. I think they're going to do this more and more and more, and you're going to have average Democrats, because this is the truth, right? Everybody in America learned about World War II. We all learned about how bad Hitler was and how bad the Holocaust was. Like, that's why every single criticism of every person inside of America is always correlated to Hitler. The reason why, it's the same reason if all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. The reason why they use that all the time is because that's the only frame of reference that they have. So what happens is that as soon as people start digging into, for example, these people's support into Hamas, these people's support into Iran, and into Hezbollah, etc. And I think this is what's going to happen. You're going to reveal that many of these people refuse to disavow it or refuse to, condemn it directly and say that it's evil and bad. And I think that their inability to do so, and then once you combine that with the fact that these groups have a stated intention of killing all of the Jews in the world, I think that it's going to be very, very hard to sell Americans on the concept that somebody who refuses to condemn an organization whose stated goal is to kill every Jew in the world isn't anti-Semitic and doesn't want to do another Holocaust. Because fundamentally, if they got their way, there would be another Holocaust. That's the truth. There would be. They're pretty much taking over areas like Dearborn, Michigan, towns in Texas too. Yes. Well, I think that also, like, well, what I'm saying is that I think DSA stuff is actually poisoning the Democrats. And the reason why it's poisoning them is because I think that there are a lot of Americans that whenever they see that kind of stuff, they're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean the U.S., like, 9/11 had to happen or something like that, right? Like, they hear something like that. There are a lot of, you've got to remember, Joe Biden won the primary in 2020. It wasn't Kamala Harris that won the primary. She was actually, like, last place. So Joe Biden won the primary because he is your good old-fashioned, old, reliable Joe. I remember Joe. He's been around for 40 or 50 years. And the moment that they see some person who is not speaking English, who is from a totally different culture, they can't unequivocally condemn terrorism. They want to constantly bring up, like Middle Eastern issues. It's just not going to work, guys. It's not going to sell very well to your average Southern Democrat. And that's the reason why these people are engaging in a lot of cases in ethnic replacement. It's because they know that the average people in America will never support that stuff. So they have to import more votes. And another way to import more votes is to have more kids. And so they're creating a government apparatus that enables them to have as many kids as possible and make the government pay for all of it. That's why they want Medicare for all and all of this stuff. That's the main reason why. It's so it can enable them to basically outpopulate and then demographically replace the people in America so they can use America's resources for their own goals. That's the reason why they're doing it, or legalizing 20 million illegals. And I want to let you guys know that there should be no doomerism or anything like that about people that are like this way. Because I think that really eventually these people will overplay their hand, and you will have somebody, like, for example, like, let's say you legalized and you made a citizen every single illegal alien tomorrow. Let's say you did that. Okay, well then you could just get rid of it. It's just a sheet of paper. You wrote it down. Okay, erase it. It's simple. So anything that can be done can be undone. Anything that somebody can do, you can create a countermeasure and then undo it. So never think that, like, oh my God, it's lost or you can't do anything. Like the law, yeah, you just literally change it. You just delete it. Except abortion, yeah, much harder to undo something, though. It is only hard to undo something when you are inhibited by the people that want to make it hard. Look at Bukele. Was it hard for him? No. So it's again, you have to look at it from that perspective. So then this is another person here, Francisco Hong for governor. This is a state representative that's going to go on Mike from PA's stream.
In the days that followed
that shit crazy. Jew is not a fucking ethnic. It is Jewish is not an ethnicity. This constructed ethnicity.
It is, by the way.
This demonic ethnicity. Wholly invented.
You got a week suspension for this.
In the days that followed
that shit crazy.
Yep, got a week for this. And it's just crazy. It is. It's both. Yes, Jewishness is it's an ethnicity, a Semitic, obviously, ethnicity, and it's also a religion. You can be both, neither, or one of them, obviously. So anyway, yeah, and these are the people that they're working with. So if you are a Jew in America, you need to understand that the people that you are supporting, if you're supporting the DSA, are running tacit approval for groups that want to literally murder and genocide you and your whole family. That is what their stated goal and intention is. That's what they want to do. This isn't a joke. It's not an exaggeration. It's not a, hyperbole. This is their stated purpose. And that's it. Jews overwhelmingly support Democrats in the DSA. Well, that's why I said I don't feel bad for people like Scott Wiener for being harassed and attacked by them, because he really is, you manifested this problem yourself, and now your problem, it's like Frankenstein's monster coming back to terrorize him. Like, that's what's happened. As a Jewish person, even if we wanted it not to be an ethnicity, it's not up to us. That's why many Jewish people died in 1939. It only matters if your grandparents were Jewish, not if you assimilated or converted. Well, it does. I mean, I mean, there's some complexity to that, but like, I mean, I'm sure you know it better than I do. I'm not going to try to argue with you about that. So yeah, the Jews supporting GSA are equally suicidal and pathetic, just like white women supporting white genocide. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, definitely. But yeah, I mean, these are the people that they are engaging with. This is fundamentally where it's at. And I think that this is very, very bad for the Democratic Party, and it is actually very good for the Republican Party. The moment that you can play clips of people that are like him saying this stuff, and then you can show that you have actual candidates running with these people, saying that Jews are a demonic ethnicity, that you support Hezbollah, stuff like that, this will immediately, instantaneously poison the well for millions and millions and millions of Americans. So I think that the end result of this is that the DNC will successfully cannibalize the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, will successfully cannibalize the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party has no defense against this. They have no defense against this. They can't stop this from happening. So the DSA will just continue doing it more and more and more. And you know what I think? I think you get what you fucking deserve. That's what I think. I think that's exactly what they deserve. They can't defend it because they stand for nothing. Well, they're oppositional. They're oppositional to Trump. And they're oppositional to certain ideologies. Here it is. Okay, I'll watch one more, then I'm going to look at a couple of the... I will look at the Charlie video about the console stuff. DNC chants, "You're next," to Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries at their victory party. An appeaser is one who feeds a crocodile, hoping it will eat them last. You're next! You're next! You're next! You're next! You're next! Yep. They're going to do it too. They're going to get rid of all of these old school Democrats, and they're going to, and the reason why is that, I'm going to be real, the DSA has a much stronger vision than the Democratic Party does. And they are able to clearly and plainly express that ideology with no remorse, no caveats, no anything else. They do. Now, it's like Nazis had a very cohesive and a very specific ideology that you would easily explain what their ideology is. Just because somebody has an ideology that's cohesive and you can understand, it doesn't make it a good ideology. All I'm saying is that it is an ideology that can be communicated, and I think that just having something to believe in rather than something to fight against, which is them just fighting against Trump, that's a massive difference. And I think that's the reason why they're winning in so many of these cases. The left embraced identity politics and refugees. They know the deal with the fractured identity politics and tribalist infighting. Well, the problem is that once you embrace intersectionality, these people will always overrule you because they have more diversity points. So that means that you have to either go against what your defining characteristics are, or you have to basically allow yourself to be subjugated by them. And I think that's what's happened, is that they've just allowed themselves to be subjugated. Why are they more focused on Palestine than they are about America? Why are they more focused on Palestine than America? I'll give you like a number of examples. So there's multiple reasons. Number one, I think that there is like the very obvious reason where it's like people like we're giving a lot of money to Israel and they don't like what they're doing in Palestine, right? And I think that's the reason why like most people probably feel that way. There isn't like a 7-dimensional reason. They just see videos of, dead Palestinian kids and they're like, oh my God, this is horrible. I hate Israel. I think it's actually just that simple, right? But then you also have other components, and these are all smaller pieces of the pie, is you have some people that do it for racial solidarity. They view Israel as a projection of Western power in the Middle East, and not only do they not want Western power in the Middle East, they don't want Western power anywhere. So a L for Israel is an L for Western power, is an L for Americanism, and it's an L for Western civilization. So that's another big reason why they support it. It's crazy to think a group of anti-Americans can gain political foothold in America. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you have universal suffrage. I mean, this is the reason why the founding fathers never had that. I mean, there's a complete reason. So another reason why they support it is a religious reason, right? Obviously, I think that almost all Muslims are probably going to be more sympathetic towards Palestine because it seems like it is Jews versus Muslims. And I think that there's absolutely a religious component to this. So then you have on top of that, you have people that it is white versus non-white. Many people are not 11th degree Masons in terms of racism. They view Jewish people and white people as the same thing. Now, any white supremacist person would tell you that they're not the same thing, but in a general sense, I think that people understand them to be the same thing. So they also look at it as another group of white people bombing brown people, and because of that, it's white people being bad. And I think that if you put all of these reasons together and a few others that I'm sure I can't think of right now, you come up with the total picture of why Palestine is such an important thing. And also another part about it is that it is a very, very emotionally charged topic that is very hard. Like, people don't really understand it, I think, very well in a lot of cases. It takes a lot of delusion stacking. Well, like, it's always white people. Yes, definitely. And Israelis are not white. If I look at an Israeli and you ask like a lot of these people inside of this crowd, are those white people? I bet most of these people would say that yes, those are white people. I think that's the case. No, I'm not saying all of them would, but I think that many of them would. Disagree about being just Jews versus Muslims. They don't react with the same hate when it's the U.S. versus Muslims. They have a special hatred for Jews. Well, hating Jews is the OG. It's like the OG bigotry, right? I mean, like that one predates all of the other ones, right? Before really a lot of racism, before other countries, it's really hating the Jews, right? That one goes way, way, way back. And so, and you see this. This is another big component, is that a lot of these leftist issues are completely, they're completely defined by, let me see, like, what's the best way to say this? They're totally defined by emotional grandstanding and emotional blackmail. Whether it's kids in cages, families being separated, Palestine being bombed, Lebanon being bombed, everything inside of their ideology is the most radicalized, most extreme, and most emotionally charged version of whatever the conversation is. It is extremely and heavily emotionally charged. It's almost never actually like a rational conversation. It's just emotional. Emotions appeal to women and non-critical thinkers. Yeah, I think that overwhelmingly a lot of the people that are involved in this stuff, and you can see this based off of those, you go back and look at the pro-Palestine rallies, it's overwhelmingly women that are screeching and screaming, right? I mean, I think that's clearly what's happened, and it's going to continue happening, right? That's really where I think things are going to go. Didn't know Republicans access this character model? Oh boy. Let me see if I had a few more of these here. It looks just like more bullshit. Another casino terror plot? Holy fuck. I'm sorry, but I can't stand people that always say they aren't white, they aren't black. Yeah, no one's white or black. They're social constructs, not racial identities. I think that you can understand that people might not have that necessarily, but at the same time, there is very clearly a definition that everybody is working off of and defining things off of. Do you think it'd be a good idea to have a woman president? I mean, I don't know. It depends on the woman, right? I mean, that's really what my opinion on all of these topics are. Is that, like, I don't like really making decisions on people based off of, like, a category. I'd much rather make a decision based off of, like, an entire, like, that individual person. Is that person a moron or not, right? And if they are, then, yeah, I think you should get rid of them.